Johnny, I want to bring this question and comment to everyone here at the panel because I had a conversation with a guy this morning, and it was really interesting because we were talking about really good teams in the National Hockey League. And obviously the Leafs came up. He thought Edmonton was a good team. Winnipeg was strong. Colorado. He really thought Florida could make some noise. And then I brought up this comment, and I was like, I grew up in Edmonton in the 80s. And there were great teams around the Oilers, but the Oilers were the team. And all I kept thinking about is poor Florida, right there is Tampa, and all of these top teams, we could all argue, but Tampa's still the team to beat coming into this. And Winnipeg in the 80s had an amazing teams. Calgary had amazing teams. Didn't matter. Edmonton was the trump team because they were the best team and they had the most depth, the best players. And I keep thinking about that. Like the Leafs are in their wheelhouse right now. Colorado's in their wheelhouse. Winnipeg, and still the team to beat is the team that is not going anywhere. It's Tampa.
Yes, but I think what's different than the 80s is that the salary cap is supposed to kind of negate those advantages because Tampa might be the team to beat. Tampa's not as good as they were last year. They lost their entire third line. Which I think everyone, they can appreciate how good that line was.
I wouldn't put it past them, Johnny. I wouldn't put it past them.
I'm not saying they won't. I'm just saying they're not as good. So, whatever gap there was between Tampa and the rest of the teams last year, the gap should be smaller because they're worse. Kind of undeniably worse. Now, they're still maybe the favorites, but they're not as strong. So, talk to the Islanders. Lost a couple years in a row to Tampa, right there knocking on the door. But right. I don't know if Tampa, even as constructed, even last year, the Islanders took them to Game 7. They're not so good that they are unbeatable. I think you get into a playoff series, even if they're the favorite, it's a 55-45 pick 'em between who wins with whoever they're playing, if it's Toronto or any other really good team in the East, Florida, whatever it might be. So that might be the case, but I don't think it's so much that it would it's not like it's Winnipeg trying to beat the Oilers in the 80s. It's not like that.
Right. Well, Tampa, when you bring into the cap situation with them, they are at an advantage, and it's not just about the tax situation, which always comes up. It's that there has been a limit placed, and everyone just abides by it. Kucherov got 9.5, so Vasilevsky said, I'll take it. Vasilevsky got 9.5, so Point said, I'll take it. You look up the road, it's only $500,000 per, but Sasha Barkov signed an extension today, 8 years at $10 million per, which I think is a spectacular deal for the team. I had him in my top 10 this year. Point being is, as much as I love Barkov, I love Point as much, and Point's got 2 cups, and Point said I'll take 9.5. So even within the state, where you get rid of the tax stuff, the team up the road has to pay $500,000 more for a player in the same ballpark. Tampa's got it made in the shade, man. They got these guys locked in. They didn't take all the money they need. Forget the Leafs, and I know that's coming up with Marner getting paid what he gets paid and Matthews. Barkov at 10 is a great deal, and Tampa's got 3 guys who are equally as valuable, equally as productive at less than Barkov got today.
Yep.
Does that start with Steve Stamkos? Feels like it started with him. He's not the best player on that team. He doesn't deserve to make the most anymore. But when he had his crack at it, when he was an unrestricted free agent, he could have where, 1, he elected to stay, and 2, I don't think he pushed that salary all the way to the roof. He probably, given where he was in the league then, could have squeezed out $1 million or maybe more than $1 million on top of, I think he makes 7.5 or something like that. He could have been higher than that. So I guess
one
Stamkos
guy to set a standard.
Yeah,
Johnny.
Right. The best player, and then everyone else kind of falls in line, relative to the changing landscape. And I guess that is the advantage that Tampa has. And it makes them able to have Ryan McDonough and keep Killorn and Palat at $5 million and have those kind of players around, which they might not be able to afford if everyone maxed out their dollars like they kind of did in Toronto.
Yeah. Well, I think you can look at Stamkos for sure. I think you can look at Yzerman as the GM. I remember Yzerman at the draft. We were there, and he spoke publicly. He said, Steven Stamkos can do whatever he wants. We love him. We wish him nothing but success. If he wants to leave, so be it. But the negotiation's over. The deal's on the table. Now, that may not have been true. Maybe Stamkos could have come back and said, actually, I need $750,000 more a year. Maybe Yzerman says, fine, we can do that for you. But I remember that comment. Like, I remember thinking, man, that's bold. Like, what a move by Yzerman to say, go ahead. Go ahead.
Like, Stevie Y is like a power player, man. Like, you do not mess with that guy when it comes to negotiating and stuff. Like, whether it's for the Olympic team or trading Marty St. Louis or staring down Steven Stamkos. Like, I guess, I don't know if it comes from just determination or his own success or whatever. You know, once he gets to a spot, he's not going to budge. He doesn't really care. He just doesn't really care. He's going to do what he thinks he has to do, which is not every club operates that way.
No, it's admirable, man. Like, there's a reason his fingerprints are all over a 2-time Cup winner.